Alrighty. Think we're about to be live. Get that fixed. Alrighty. Assalamu alaikum, ya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's what Muslims and Arabic speakers, who even non-Muslims who speak Arabic say. It means peace and blessings of God be with you and His mercy. May peace and blessings be upon you and your family. Yes, you watching this. We have to put positive energy out into the world. Could we be good people if we don't want to do that? Anyways, I got a really good live stream video. This live stream is probably going to lag really bad, but if you just wait till I'm finished live streaming and you're one of the people lucky enough to watch the video when I finish the live stream and you come back a little while after I finish it, usually none of it gets cut out and the lag issue is fixed. Because of the streaming service I'm using, Prism Live is really great. Anyways, in this live stream today, I'm going to give y'all an ethnobotanical lesson on the role of citrus, and specifically Trifoliate citrus, in the culture of many of the Qarsherskiyan families. Now, in our community, there are different traditions in different families, and it can vary. This is just a very generalization about our community. It might be true about many of us, but it might not reflect the views or the culture of all of us. Does that make sense? Okay, so before we talk about Qarsherskiyan ethnobotany, with that disclaimer out of the way about how we're talking about it in such a general way, what is ethnobotany? If there's a way I can explain it to just the average English-speaking person who doesn't know the term ethnobotany, this basically means how people or an ethnic group or a tribe or a nation or culture interacts with and uses plants. You know, ethnobotany. It's the botanical practices and traditions about different ethnic groups. And there might be some trolls who are going to say, this is cultural appropriation. You said ethnic. Well, to those trolls I have to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Cultural appropriation is when you appropriate the culture of another people. Believe it or not, in the United States of America, there are actual ethnic groups that have their own culture, and they aren't taking it from other people. There might be some traditions they inherited from their ancestors, and then that means it's their traditions because they inherited it. Is not actually native to North America. We do not have any edible fruiting citrus trees here native to North America. There are citrus species, or if you will, actually relatives in the citrus family. If I recall correctly, that's Rutaceae. But they're not like an orange or a lemon tree. I think prickly ash is one of the, consider prickly ash to be a citrus. Prickly ash isn't like lemon or grapefruit. So for my definition of what is a citrus plant or tree in this video, we're going to talk about any plant or living organism, a tree or bush or shrub or vine or any kind of plant that produces citrus fruits, which are the fruits that have the thick rinds and they're divided into sections. When you cut them open, they have the triangles, just like a pizza cut, and they're usually full of seeds unless people messed with them in their genetics and bred a seedless variety. And they are anything that is similar to lemon, lime, orange, grapefruit, kumquat, pomelo, citron, mandarin, satsuma. All those are citrus fruits. Things like that are citrus fruit. So obviously a passion fruit is not a citrus fruit. It's not even in the citrus family. And even though prickly ash is a relative of citrus, I don't consider any kind of edible part of the prickly plant. If the prickly ash even has edible parts, I don't know about that. Some of my folks in London, Ohio know about it. But, yeah. So, these commenters. Boom, I made them disappear. Alrighty, so Now let's talk about the trifoliate orange. The trifoliate orange originated in the land that today we English speakers know as being part of China. And specifically, there are actually two species of trifoliate oranges. One, most people in the USA who know a lot about citrus know about, and it's the famous trifoliate orange. But there's actually, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, sorry my Chinese friends, there's a Fuminji, or the Fumin citrus. And it is a trifoliate orange that grows in the area around the Yunnan province of China. And it's kind of found north of the big city. I forget the name. There's a really big city in the Yunnan area of China that's like one of the largest cities there. And it has a history of Chinese Muslims briefly even took control of the city when they had an independent sultanate in what's Yunnan today. But the Chinese Muslims, like the Hui, and also non-Han Chinese ethnic groups that are Muslim majority that live in China or lands that are part of China, such as the Uyghurs, they are very interesting, and they have a connection to this story, kind of. Anyway, the Fuminji, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but it's a letter. Many non-Qarsherskiyan scientists usually, they argue it should be a separate genus nowadays called Pancerus trifoliata. And the reason why me and most of my friends that I know who know about citrus in the Qarsherskiyan community oppose this is because we're very familiar with trifoliate orange, and we don't think it's a separate genus. We're 100% sure it's a citrus. It is in the citrus family. It's the same family or species. It's closely related enough. They hybridize with the other citrus. It's just a wild citrus variety. It shouldn't be called a separate genus. That's the opinion of me, and not all, but of most Qarsherskiyan folks who know about citrus classification. Now, the trifoliate orange was brought to America over a century ago, long ago actually. And just like another plant that we call orange that isn't the same as the oranges you want to eat at the store, Osage orange, the trifoliate orange was used to make hedges and fences to keep livestock in check because it's so thick and thorny that it can be used to create a living fence around cattle fields. And any kind of hogs or horses, they will get cut up trying to push through the thick bramble-like environment it creates with all the thorns. And they won't escape their enclosure wherever you plant it around an area to close an area off. Now, trifoliate orange is often used as citrus rootstock, where you take a trifoliate orange plant and you cut it back, and you use it as the rootstock to graft other citrus trees onto it. If you know, you know. That's a whole nother thing that I don't have a lot of time to explain. But, yeah, so there's that use of it. Also, by hybridizing it with other citrus species, that is where the Qarsherskiyan story comes in, with it being used by our community, traditionally speaking, because we've used it for a long time, for maybe a century or more at least. And because of this, since we've been using it since it first became popular in America and all the people in America was using it, it's considered to be part of our ethnobotany. That's why I mentioned earlier how there are some trolls who are going to be like, ethnobotany has the word ethno in it, and America can't have ethno groups because America has no culture. They say that, and I don't know what they're talking about or what that means. Any people or society has a culture, even if you don't think it's very vibrant or rich or however you want to call it. I find it actually offensive to say that some people are less culturally rich than other people. But that's just my opinion. You can disagree. That's off topic anyway. So, the trifoliate orange is something really cool about it. Is while most citrus can't handle being in cold climates, and you won't find them too far north of like Fayetteville, North Carolina when you're in the Mesirvand, the trifoliate orange, it can grow really far north in the Mesirvand. It could probably do well for quite a while in Cumberland, Maryland, if you plant it in a good spot. So, the trifoliate orange is really cold hardy. One of my friends from the coastal part of Maine, a Qarsherskiyan lad who I believe lived on an island in Maine, or if not, lived on some kind of peninsula or by a harbor or something on the coast. They actually grew trifoliate orange in Zone 6 in Maine. And it never got too big or fruited, but it lived for years and years as a small little thing. It grew very slow, and it completely defoliated every winter. The thing about trifoliate orange is, not only does it have the trifoliate leaves, where it has palmate leaves like a palm or fern, with multiple leaflets on each stem making up a full leaf. You know, it's trifoliate, just like a poison ivy leaf or a red clover leaf. It's got 3 leaflets to make up the full leaf. The trifoliate orange has something else kind of interesting going on about it. You see, about the trifoliate orange, during the winter it actually goes dormant. It's not evergreen like most citrus. It's really cold hardy and it's deciduous. It loses its leaves during the winter. They turn beautiful colors and they fall off. So trifoliate orange is a really cold hardy citrus. So you're probably wondering, why aren't there huge citrus groves in southern Ohio under black tarp and heated Christmas lights? Why haven't the Qarsherskiyan people in London, Ohio made a big booming citrus industry in Ohio with it? And the reason why is because our trifoliate orange trees that we love so much, they don't taste good at all. Well, if you bite into a trifoliate orange, it's like a kumquat where you can eat the rind and the skin, but they, just like the inside, the outside of the fruit and its skin, also don't taste good. When talking about trifoliate orange, kumquat is good and the skin of the kumquat fruit is good. I just meant it's like a kumquat because you can eat the skin. The similarities, I mean, they kind of end there. But with the trifoliate orange tree, it doesn't taste very good because one of the reasons why it's so cold hardy is because the plant produces a natural resin that acts like an antifreeze. So when it gets below freezing, the tree doesn't really get freeze damage like other citrus would. That's how the plant is able to grow in such cold climates. And the Fumenji one that I'm probably pronouncing wrong, the polyandra variety that is not as widespread available and almost went extinct, they're helping to plant it and regrow it in China and Yunnan and other provinces. And I really want to visit China solely for the purpose of getting my hands on some of this citrus. There's a lot of talks on our forums in the Qarsherskiyan community about getting this other trifoliate citrus variety that's also kind of cold hardy and from China, and bringing it to the USA to increase the genetic diversity of our citrus. And I don't have a lot against the Chinese government, but I have said things about the Uyghurs, okay? And I don't know if the Chinese government wants me to go there. I'm kind of nervous that if I go to China, they won't like what I have said on social media. They might find out and they'll be like, we should detain him for terrorism because he said East Turkestan deserves to be an independent country if the majority of people there are saying that they want independence. This is a geopolitical thing that's pretty controversial, but the Uyghurs, they were there for a long time. The Han Chinese folks started moving onto their land. It's really controversial. They are a Muslim majority ethnic group. They have more facial hair and they look a bit more Caucasian than the Han Chinese. The Han Chinese are like, not all of them, like you don't want to use mass generalizations about whole ethnic groups, but there's a lot of Han Chinese folks that aren't getting along with a lot of Uyghur folks that aren't getting along with a lot of Han Chinese folks. There's sometimes you get Uyghur and Han friends. There's some who get along with the Chinese government well, some Uyghurs, but there's a controversial situation. You can look into it yourself. Just make sure you listen to different sides of the story before you make an opinion about what you think, especially if you're not even living over there, right? And hey, we got a commenter. Hey Arfuro, this is my friend who I've known for quite a long time, a good friend and ally for our Qarsherskiyan community. And we were just talking about a citrus tree that was brought to the USA from China a long time ago. And it's cold tolerant, but it doesn't taste good. And Qarsherskiyan people, as well as other people here in the US and even in other countries around the world, have tried to cross it with all the better tasting citrus varieties, trying to hit the genetic jackpot and just kind of get like a cold hardy citrus that is palatable and it can still taste good. Even if maybe you might have to prepare it some way, maybe you wouldn't sell them at the store for people to eat whole, but you can make a lot of money making like jams or marmalade or some juice out of them or something. And that's something our Qarsherskiyan community has kind of pushed for a while now. Especially on the internet, we're starting to voice ourselves. But I will say, if the Chinese government is watching this, I just want to go to Yunnan and get some citrus fruit there. Maybe meet some of the Hui Muslims. If I go to China, I'm not going there to bring weapons and arms to the Uyghurs. And some people might think that that's something that I might want to do, maybe. But that's not why I would be in China if I go there. I really want to get a hold on some of these citrus and stuff. I have my opinions, but the trip to China that I want to take is unrelated to East Turkestan separatist movement. And I honestly, truly believe that maybe I could get away with going to China and just being a well-behaved person and not talking about geopolitics. But in the Qarsherskiyan community, there's other people like me who really feel for the Uyghurs. And there's pressure. People will get mad on me and say, why did you go to China and not talk about the Uyghurs while you were there? Why didn't you fight the Chinese government? It's like, you know, I care about the Uyghur situation. But if I go to China and start talking about the Uyghurs, I'm going to get deported or like detained or something. And I won't be able to do anything. Okay? Like, I just want to go for citrus. And we'll just leave it at that. But it's really hard to find any of the people who I know in my circle in the Qarsherskiyan community who haven't said a lot of stuff about the Uyghurs. So that's why we haven't found someone to go to Yunnan and try to get a translator, meet locals, and see if they can get seeds or cuttings or budwood from one of these citrus and find any legal way possible to get them brought here to the USA. They might have to go for quarantine for citrus greening disease. I know a guy who I can't name who said he's going to try to smuggle some into the USA. That's what someone else said, not me. But, like, if you get caught doing that, the TSA is going to have you, like, destroyed. But, yeah, so it's another trifoliate variety, and it's like, it has less of a deciduous nature. It's kind of more semi-evergreen. And it might not be as cold hardy, but it is very unique characteristics. It's got unique genetics, and it's a separate population. So it's a really good thing if you can bring some to the USA, start breeding and growing them and getting cuttings from them and reproducing them and grafting them in large numbers. And then just start experimenting with crossing them with all the hybrid citruses and making new hybrids with them and other non-hybrid citruses and just doing all kinds of experimenting with it, playing in the genetic lottery with it. That's what we're all about, what we would want to do. So anyways, the Trifoliate Citrus, it has 3 leaves on each stem, right? And it's actually not like many different ethnic backgrounds within one person because we're a mixed race community. So like I have ancestors who are black. I have ancestors who are white. I have some ancestors who are Jewish or who are Native American. I have some ancestors who are either Roma or Sinti, and it's kind of confusing and I'm still studying it. I have very distant Malagasy and all kinds of ancestors from all over the world. So we're like a triracial or polyracial community, if you will. And for our community, the leaves, you know, multiple being part of one, it kind of symbolizes us because when people see the trifoliate orange leaves, they think it's 3 leaves on one stem. And we can't get people to like understand that that's actually 1 leaf for each of those little threes and clusters of 3 you see. Each cluster is actually a single leaf. And that's just the way how people don't understand the Qarsherskiyan community. They're like, are you guys like joking? No. Are you guys trolling? No. And they're like, what do you mean? You're black and you're white and you're this and you're that. And it's like, well, it's called being mixed race. And they're like, is that real? Is mixed race real? I think you're a troll. It's like, no, it's just called being mixed race. Welcome to America. Have you been living under a rock? People don't understand these things that many of us think is so simple because we just grew up with these concepts and we're used to it. So there's a symbolism there that many of us interpret about the trifoliate orange, symbolically representing our community and our people. It looks like something delicious that you'd love to eat, you know. Just like to the neo-Nazis and racists, we look like a low-hanging ripe fruit for picking, where they really want to mess with us and, you know, bother us. But if you bite into trifoliate orange, it's actually really sour and bitter, and you're going to spit it out. And it's like the trifoliate orange eats you because it's so acidic. And that's just like our community. We're sweet, nice people. You look at us and you think we're good. You just want to eat us all up. But when you try to take a bite out of us, we actually bite you. We bite you back. You know, like we'll bite your tongue off. Okay, that's kind of weird, but I think you get the idea. There's all kinds of symbolism, like the thorns and stuff. Anyway, when you hybridize a trifoliate orange with, say, a pomelo or grapefruit, if you will, you get a citramelo. There's several citramelo cultivars and varieties that have been cultivated. Most of the named ones weren't made by Qarsherskiyan people. They got a Sacaton citramelo. They got a Swingle citramelo. There's another common variety. I can't remember the name right now. When you cross the trifoliate orange with a citrange, I just revealed what I was going to tell you about the next hybrid. When you cross the trifoliate orange with like an actual orange, like a sweet orange, you get a citrange. I think there's a Bentonville citrange. Now, when you take this hybrid citrange, you cross it with a kumquat, you get a citrange quat. One of the most famous trifoliate orange hybrids that tastes good, that people like to eat and like to grow, that still retains a lot of its cold hardiness and has enough trifoliate genes to be decently cold hardy while having little enough to taste good, is the Thomasville citrange quat. It doesn't have too much of those resins, but it's enough it's cold tolerant. People use it as kind of like a lime substitute and for many other things. It has kumquat ancestry, so you can eat the peel. It's shaped like an egg, and it's not too big or too small. It's a pretty good bite-sized citrus, bigger than a bite. But, yeah. Now, here's where the Qarsherskiyan hybrids get in. For a long time now, people outside our community have been making hybrids. It was non-Qarsherskiyan people who brought trifoliate orange to the USA and really started breeding new cultivar hybrids like the Swingle citramelo, named after Swingle, the famous citrus guy, the naturalist. He was a great guy. He's a role model for me in some ways. I mean, I don't agree with everything he said or do, but I'm just in it for the plants, man. Don't like try to misquote what I said and find some dirt on Swingle and think that I support anything that he might have done. It's not just related to doing good things for Cayman. One thing you get is the Qarsherskiyan etrog or Qarsherskiyan etrog, and this is what happens when you cross a citron, which is Citrus medica, with the trifoliate orange. The citron is actually considered to be of very important cultural significance for many Jews. Many Jewish people, they actually use it during holidays. It's a very specific holiday. I forget the name of it, and I don't remember what all they do with it, but obviously. But it does still smell good. People use it for decorations, and when you have it on the table during the holidays, easily hybridize. So there's a couple hybrids that our Qarsherskiyan community, we have members of our community who created some hybrids, and a couple of them are named. But as far as I'm aware, as of the time of this live stream, none of it's official. No one went and paid a lot of money to send it to California. If you create a new citrus cultivar, there's this place in California where you can take it, and you have to pay a big sum of a lot of money, but then they have it, and they then it's available to people, and then you can get information about it online and stuff. no one has really done that with any of our citrus hybrids. They're mostly just like family heirlooms, except like some of the more well-known ones and some of the named ones that have names are common enough that people kind of like released them. They will like plant them in an area where it manages to naturalize and grow, like in ravines and stuff. So, for example, one of these things is the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit, sometimes called Qarsherskiyan orange. The community is the first people to create it, and the folks who hybridized it, they all decided to call it Qarsherskiyan grapefruit, or sometimes people call it Qarsherskiyan orange or Qarsherskiyan lemon. And anyone can create this hybrid. We don't know who in our community created it, because there's a few potential possibilities of who might have hybridized it. There was some place in the southern USA, I forget where, and a bunch of women were hybridizing citrus like crazy, just producing all kinds of whack stuff, because citrus easily hybridizes like that. And some of the women, at some point, one of them created what is Qarsherskiyan grapefruit now, but they debate and bicker like, I made it. No, I made it. No, I made it. No, she made it. No, she made it. No, I made it. No, and they'll just argue and argue and argue, and we don't even want that drama. We try to keep that in people's homes and in the family. We don't publicize it. We don't name call. So that's all I'll say about that. We know some Qarsherskiyan women want to create a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit. All you gotta do is get a citrange quat tree and get a citramelo tree. That get them to cross-pollinate if you can get them to both flower at the same time. And any fertile seeds of hybrid extract that you get from that are Qarsherskiyan grapefruit trees. And even though we haven't even got the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit officially recognized as a name for this species, we're the first people to create and describe this hybrid. Alhamdulillah, it's great. And I've seen it a lot. It's there's several random sporadic locations across the Mesoravand, mostly in the southeastern part of the US, where you can find them growing. There are some families who grew them. It's kind of like a family heirloom, except a bunch of our families had them, not just one. And whenever people would move to a new property, they got really big and they were covered in thorns, and they transplant poorly sometimes, and it's hard to dig up all the roots. It's a pain. So people would just like take cuttings or get seeds and just bring those to a new home. And when you get people who move around a lot, especially like during the Jim Crow era, you know, with the Great Migration North and the Hillbilly Highway and other human migration routes in the U.S. in the last 200 years, and just people moving town to town, and people having kids that grow up and they take seeds and cuttings from their parents' trees, and they go out and get their own home and start a family and their kids. It's spread all over in just random locations, where just anywhere where there's a bunch of Qarsherskiyan people in a favorable climate. If they're descendants of the Tidewater Qarsherskiyan community, there's a high chance one of the families there, at least, had some Qarsherskiyan grapefruit. And once you plant it in like your backyard somewhere by the tree line, it just kind of spreads in the woods. It's not really an invasive species, not like Trifoliate orange can be in the south, because it doesn't actually compete with native species and change or damage habitat or cause much issues like that, environmentally speaking. But it does naturalize. Just because a non-native species naturalizes doesn't necessarily make it invasive per se, right? But if we're lucky and if my phone battery holds up long enough, in a little bit I will be able to show you guys a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree and the spot where I'm at. It's a top secret location. It's one of the biggest ones I've seen. It's like 50 feet tall, and many Qarsherskiyan influencers, including me before, have visited this tree. And we'll be going there later today, inshallah. It's a beautiful day today. Great weather that we're having. Here comes a boat coming across the water. That land you see over there, that is about a mile away. And there's that boat right there coming from that island right there that has some houses on it. And it's about to come through a narrow choke point that Qarsherskiyans control. Because we're always here. There's a peninsula here, which I'm on right now. And there's another one over there. It's like between where I'm standing and the opposite shore over there is a narrow choke point. And there's always Qarsherskiyan people on both of these peninsulas, on both sides of the straits. The straits that that boat is just now coming out of. And eventually they go out there. You see where they're heading? They're heading out into the open water now on the other side of the straits. And that land over there is 4 miles away. So there's a lot of water. And this body of water is very big and wide. It's many miles across, like 4 or 5 miles out. So when there's even just a slight wind, waves can be created on the sandy beaches here. And boat wakes also create waves all day long. People go surfing and kiteboarding and all kinds of stuff. This is a secret beach where I'm at. It used to be really popular for all the folks in this area, but for reasons, I wonder why, erosion destroyed the beach. So only really Qarsherskiyan folks like me ever come here most of the time. There's not many other people who come here who aren't Qarsherskiyan. But there is still a little beach here, and I often actually camp here with a tent. Me and some of my friends will sleep here on this beach at night. During the daytime, fishing boats surround this area, and people climb up on the peninsula that I'm on. See, there's water there in front of me, to my left, behind me, and through those trees. You probably can't see because they're so thick. There's more water back there, and there's water there. I'm pretty much on a peninsula right now, guys. And I'm gonna start walking to that Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree I told you guys about. But it's a bit of a walk. So I told you guys about Qarsherskiyan etrog. I told you guys about Qarsherskiyan grapefruit. There's one more citrus tree that the Qarsherskiyan community created, but it's possible we're not actually the first people to create this one. But this would be a citriquat, which is what you would get when you cross a kumquat and a trifoliate orange. Kumquats are pretty sweet for citrus fruits, and you can even eat the skin of kumquats. And they're cold hardy down to around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, inshallah. So you can get some pretty cold hardy, good tasting citrus by crossing kumquat with trifoliate orange. So it's kind of the holy grail. But what we found out here in the Qarsherskiyan community, in our forums about hybridizing citrus that we have on Mango Live and on Citramelo Live, we have found out that kumquats and trifoliate orange, they hybridize, but most of the seeds are aborted. You gotta get like a bunch of different cross-pollinated fruits and get as much seeds as you can, because you don't get a lot of fertile seeds with this cross. It's not really difficult to hybridize them. It's just not very productive to do so. But if you have the time and you do it, it pays off once you get a hybrid and you're patient enough to actually wait for that hybrid to mature and bear fruits. That's how you'll get the citriquat fruits. And citriquat, the Qarsherskiyan community hasn't actually named this hybrid yet. Not that I'm aware of anyhow. So, yeah. If you're one of the people who is hybridizing these citriquats, you could probably give it a name, right? I mean, Citrange quatmello, the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit, got named Qarsherskiyan grapefruit. And Citron X Pancerus got named Qarsherskiyan etrog. Then the Secaton or Swingle or Sexton citramellos. We didn't invent the cultivar of citrus. You can kind of like get it patented and like have them manage it for you, whatever. Or I don't know why. They said you have to register it in California for it to be recognized. So we ain't doing that. I don't know if anyone will, but most likely we ain't finna do that. I'm not gonna go do that. I don't got the money in this economy. You know, I was talking to Milad, a good friend of mine, the other day. Just the other day, and he was saying like, when we go to the restaurants are crazy. You can go to the store and buy the ingredients and make the food yourself at home. way cheaper. He said, when you go to these restaurants, it's hard to even have fun anymore. They're making it ridiculous with the prices, man. Like the most expensive chicken we've ever seen. He said, it's like, what? Are they making this out of golden chickens or something? And I couldn't help but laugh at that. I thought that was funny. That's how we talk out here. That's how my family be down here where I'm at right now. I have relatives scattered all over the Mesrevan, but my folks over here, that's how we are. We're really chill in a tight-knit bunch. We've got a lot of harassment, as you heard earlier in the stream with me having to purge comments and stuff. But, yeah. So, pretty much that was my live stream about the citrus, but I didn't get to show you guys a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree yet. I kind of told you guys I would earlier. And I know someone's probably watching this and expecting to see it and waiting so patiently. So I'm gonna try, since my battery right now is only down to 83%, I'm gonna try to just find a way to keep y'all entertained and keep the stream going while I'm walking there. It's gonna take me a moment probably. And when I get to the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, I'll show it to y'all and then I'll finish the stream. Kinda wanna take a rest on a bench right now. I've been walking since well before I started this stream. So far, I walked 9 miles today, alhamdulillah. But I just getting a bit tired. I am still gonna make it home. I'm not gonna call no one to pick me up or nothing. Not gonna be a burden for other people. But yeah, I don't wanna like stop and rest while I'm streaming and I got you guys waiting. Probably someone's gonna find this video and be like eager, like leaning forward on their tippy toes, face pressed against the TV screen while watching this on YouTube TV. I know someone's eventually gonna find us and be like, Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, unnamed citrus hybrid I never heard before. I wanna see this. And inshallah, we won't disappoint you. I'm planning to keep the stream going as long as my connection enables me and my battery's not too low for someone who just streamed for 41 minutes. It's dropped from 100 down to 82 right now, 82% still. So that's not too bad. But while we wait for me to walk through clouds of mosquitoes and middle of the freaking backwoods out here in the boonies, trying to get to a secret location I ain't telling y'all where there we got a huge Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, probably one of the oldest hybrid that we have that's still living today, that I know of at least. While we're kind of walking over there, I need to talk to y'all about something, so you're not just watching a boring video of me walking. So, well, there's a jet ski behind me. Captain Redbeard out here spitting facts, talking about citrus and all that. Ain't that right, bruv? That's how we talk out here when we're not making YouTube live streams and trying to be formal and make sense to our white friends. Anyways, I wanted to tell y'all something pretty interesting that I recently uncovered, yeah? So, there's a group of Qarsherskiyan people that live in the U.S. state of Vermont, where there's a bunch of these people in Vermont who are part of a political ideology or party that is the Libertarianism, or the Libertarian Party. They got this big freaking lake in between the U.S. states of New York and Vermont and the Canadian province of Quebec. And when you go to Lake Champlain during a really strong windstorm, if you get the wind blowing in the right direction, down like the longest length of the open water of the lake, you can actually get some small waves that are just big enough to kind of surf on them. Freshwater surfing on lakes is kind of a hobby that me and some of my Qarsherskiyan folks have taken up, I guess you could say. I mean, I just mentioned earlier in the live stream about the body of water that I'm by right now is kind of closed and surrounded by different islands and peninsulas where it's pretty hard to get open like a wind and make waves get in there. But we do get some waves if the wind's lining up just right and coming in pretty hard across the water. And you go to the right beach and you get it lined up right on the right windy day when the wind's coming hard from the right direction, you can get some pretty big waves there. Well, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we had some kind of a cold front or something come through. We had like 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts just coming in over and over. The wind kept hitting 20 miles an hour. No joke, actually that hard. I know, right? Not every day that happens. So wait till a hurricane comes if you think that was crazy. But yeah, man, the waves on the lake were freaking huge. And you know, us Qarsherskiyan folks, you shouldn't generalize any group of people, but a lot of us are we're a bit on the wild side. We live in the life to the fullest. No one else wanted to be out by the lake when the waves were that big and they were kind of crashing and making a mess, soaking people who walk by. But you better believe I was out there, and I knew some good folks out there too. Not every Qarsherskiyan person is the same, but you better believe a bunch of us showed up to see those big waves, and there was no one else around. So, yeah, that's interesting. And I really wanted to get to the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree that actually has like producing fruit on it and all. But these smartphones that the Qarsherskiyan Heritage Center gave us, they keep ringing and ringing and ringing and annoying us. Because we got the group chat freaking messed up right now. But, there is a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree I'm going to walk by in a couple seconds. It's way smaller, and it doesn't have any fruit on it. But while we're waiting to get to the big guns, I suppose I'll show that one to y'all too, right? Because it's just something interesting. And at least it's something to satiate your appetite to see Trifoliate Citrus hybrids until we get to the next one. And I know what you're probably thinking. Brennan, you're the only person in the world who cares about citrus. And I have something to say about that. I know you like citrus! So, we're going to show... I'm just being a goofer. We're gonna show y'all... Oh yeah, here we go. We finna show y'all one of them. Check this out, guys. Here we have a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. And it is so cold out right now. Whew. But, it's still evergreen. I can almost see my breath. It's still evergreen right now. It's not completely bare. It lost a lot of its leaves, but it's still got leaves on it. And these are not the fruit of a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, but this is a branch of one. These fruit were actually stuck onto the thorns. As you can see here. See that? They were stuck onto the thorns. Most citrus trees have thorns, y'all. Someone got those cold hardy frickas and put them on there. Anyways, we're gonna keep walking and see if we can get out to the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. And I've pretty much made that my mission. But if it's the last thing I do before I die, I'm gonna show y'all this Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. Just because I made the mistake of mentioning that I was close to one and I could show it to y'all. Now I want to keep my word. Whew, but it is so cold out here. And after I show it to you, I'm probably going to end the stream. Especially since my battery is going down right now. Yeah, once I get to the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, I show it to y'all, I'm going to end the stream. And I'm going to walk home because it's going to be a few hours. Whew. But, yeah, so something else to talk about or mention right now, I guess, for any of y'all that might be interested, is, do you know about Fatima from Yorktown, Virginia, what she was saying about the Haydens? Fatima the Qarsherskiyan girl from Yorktown, Virginia, in York County. Nechayrens. Well, I have an update on that. She was 97% correct. She was almost fully right. So we're going to have to address that pretty soon, y'all. Inshallah. And there's these Qarsherskiyan Christians up here. Some really nice folks, and they know a lot about fly fishing. They're going to try and teach me that, I think. But I'm not going down in the holler today to bug them, because it's kind of cold right now. And I don't want to make them come out here. The sun's out, and that helps. It's not too windy. The mosquitoes can handle it, apparently. Some of the fruits on it. So, if I can manage to pull that off, that would be grand. That would just be a very grand plan, wouldn't it? And I assure you, we're getting closer and closer to the tree. But, gotta keep the conversation going, so y'all ain't just like sitting on the edge of your seats waiting to see this tree and I'm just saying nothing, which is boring. You're just looking at my face while I'm out here walking past the ridge. And it's funny because with how cold it is out here today, but they're still there, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not trying to be like socially awkward. Perfect world. In a perfect world, Chevy would come on the golf course and it would give me a ride down there. And I'd be there in 5 minutes. Well, that ain't gonna happen. Not today. By the time we get there, we're talking California and Mexican fan palms. Washingtonia filifera, Washingtonia robusta, Washingtonia filibusta. And I said, man, I can't believe that guy's probably not Qarsherskiyan. That's the first was uploading videos about that. A whole lot. You know what I mean? They was like, I'm sure I could find the videos if I just look up Qarsherskiyan palm tree, Lorain, Ohio. But I wonder if they're still there or if like one winter got cold and killed them, even with the methods to protect them from the barrels of warm water next to them. Anything you can do, they still. Well, that'll be an interesting thing to talk about, y'all. James Palms up in Canada. That man is a genius if he got palm trees that big in there. Y'all go see his videos if you want to know about it. It sure is interesting for anyone who cares for palm trees and zone pushing. I don't know how he does it, but he does it, y'all. Well, I came to check on a Qarsherskiyan kumquat hybrid thing that we bred. I think it's like a hybrid between a rough lemon and a kumquat, but I could be wrong. It's some kind of kumquat hybrid. Apparently hardy down to 12 Fahrenheit. And it almost got killed a couple winters ago. Well, if you look behind me, you can see it has a fruit on it. But we're gonna see the Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree, because that is a lot more rare. Unless you're from our community and you know one of the families who has some naturalized on their property in a ravine in the woods somewhere, you probably won't ever get your hands on one of these trees. Maybe one day someone will start breeding them and selling them, but that's a red flag because someone could just like sell you like something else, just like a trifoliate orange, and just claim it's a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. And that would not be good. You gotta be careful with online shopping. Yep, I know that. I've had my own issues trying to. I'd be really desperate. I'd be like, what? They actually sell this kind of corn? My pa was looking for that. Let me buy it. Oh shoot, it's a scam. They sent me regular sweet corn, white corn. They shipped it from China and that makes it cost a lot. Dang it. I've done stuff like that like over and over. And I don't know if I fully learned my lesson yet. Folks in the comments earlier, not my friend Ariful, but someone else they sent, that the trolls sent. My friend Ariful didn't do nothing, but some other guy was in the comments. The trolls sent him. The trolls made a website claiming that I'm a radical extremist. He follows radical Islam. That's what they said about me. I'm like, okay then. Whatever that means to you. I don't think I'm radical extremist. But if you want to think that, I like to think I'm a pretty nice guy. But these trolls really don't like me, so I must have done something to tick them off. But, they be saying the craziest things, bro. On the London, Ohio Facebook page, like maybe 6 months ago, some Qarsherskiyan person from the American Southeast messaged the London, Ohio Facebook page with a post talking about doing family genealogy and stuff and trying to find out about their Qarsherskiyan relatives in London that they had. They were descendant from the Madison County community living in the Southeast. And, well, for a while it got like over 20 likes and like 6 comments from locals in London. And then after a while the post died down, it had sat there quiet for months then. And then out of nowhere, a couple days ago, when the post had been, it was the post's poster to OP, I don't know, but someone from London or who used to live in London or who has connections to London from the Qarsherskiyan community replied to this comment that was put on a post that had been dead quiet with no activity, no new reactions, no comments for 6 months. With connections to London, saw the trolls and people when I was a kid there growing up. And today it's only got around like 12,000 people give posts to their friends and got their friends in there. And then all the people in London started seeing these comments and they're like, what is out of nowhere? All these people showed up. And at some point, some of them have native heritage and grew up with these people. They're familiar with .com, not a spelling mistakes per paragraph. Needless to say, that's not true. It doesn't register as a coherent think about London. And if you know about the town, a small city, big website. And all the locals being cut out of the finalized video. Goofball, believing everything you see. But we're getting closer. Care what other people outside the community want to believe or what they say to harass us. We know who we are. We know we have a community that exists, and obviously we are actually mixed race. I'm not white person on the live stream, and I can finally get some rest. Amen, and that right? Now I see a comment that says, "Hi, bro," from the same person who kept saying, "You are." It's like, oh, hello. But while they tried to seem nice and cordial, the person just like, come on here and harass me. I just erased those comments. Now there's just the one from my friend Arif. Says, hey. I don't know, I pronounce it Arifuerl or Arfuerl. Arfueno. We have different spelling variations of this name that one of my friends go by on the internet. I know what is gonna go. And I'm excited to it's a good experience. It's a good life. It's a good life I got here. I don't know if I would once the news and media starts covering our community more, the trolls and to hear about us. And eventually someone in our community is gonna do something. Hope that happens and the trolls try to vandalize it, their Wikipedia accounts are gonna get banned. Because they're just making up stuff without sources. You can't have legitimate sources to made up stuff and fake news. So once we get official coverage, all the trolls are going to be screwed. Their narrative is going to fall apart. They won't be able to fool people who don't have time to do research on our community. Because just a quick Google search, and there will be many sources, even from outside our community, and not just through the USA. If you look at the rate of people marrying their second and third cousins, the Qarsherskiyan community, if it doesn't have news. So we have to get onto the televisions and in the news. And just that we'll do soon, God willing. I'm thinking about, because people said stuff about me and threw my name around, making up stuff. I am actually working on a libel lawsuit. Libel is like slander, but when you write it down or type it on the internet, not when you're saying it with your mouth. People are using libel against me. That's illegal, and they are here in the USA. So I can actually get them into some trouble if I wanted to. I've been merciful until now. I'm working on getting all this stuff together, getting my receipts, if you will. And if they don't leave me alone, I don't know if they're going to take this stuff down or keep it up and just leave us alone and stop adding new misinformation. But if they don't do one of those two things, if they keep adding new misinformation and adding to the pile, they're just adding fuel to the fire that's going to burn. And then I'll have to take them to court because they're actually messing up people's lives. If you're from the Qarsherskiyan community and you go to the trolls, you say certain things to them, they know who your name is, and you get it to come up, then the Google AI will see that at the top and summarize what it says. So they're bragging like to lose my voice. Thankfully, I got a bottle of water right here in my jacket, so I'm just gonna take a few swigs of that water, and inshallah that'll help a whole lot. You know what I mean? It's a great day to be alive here in the southeastern United States of America. What a great day it is to be Qarsherskiyan. I'm talking a lot about these trolls on here only because I don't know what else to talk about. That's what's up with me lately. I just needed a filler to talk about something, like I said earlier, or I'm just out here walking, so you're not staring at my face, that they're bothered me. And they didn't really get to me. I'm still quite happy and having a great time out here. I'm in a really good mood today. But they probably think that I'm raging right now and that I think my life is ruined because they said some stuff from behind a keyboard. Can't even show their faces to me. But, yeah, they think that they just got a little victory. Like I said, though, if they keep messing around, they're about to find out. Oh, yeah. Here we have a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. And I gotta find somewhere to put my water bottle. I'll just put it. Here we have a Qarsherskiyan grapefruit tree. Hybrid between Citramello and Citrange Quad. The tree is 50 feet high. Right about 50 feet. It's definitely higher than 48 feet. But it's probably not 56 feet high. I'm gonna say it's about 50 feet tall. And that's not an over-exaggeration to just say it's a big tree. That's an accurate estimate. And I don't hands and big feet. Now look how big this tree is, y'all. This is just one trunk. All these, if you bifoliate, and the leaves are more long, the main of the free leaves, the longest one, doesn't know about something, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That's kind of the issue our Qarsherskiyan community's facing. Like I was talking about earlier about how we need to get on the news or something. Trying to claim that the term is just new from 2024, contradicting the websites and videos about our community posted way before. A bunch of my friends and family in the community to re-upload all the videos I was posting. I would send them my photos and videos and have them upload it to their own accounts. And I became one of the most well-known social media influencers.